This is Glenn Glasper, affectionately known as Mr. Dollar Out of a Dime, and this is the Real Life Real Estate Investment Show, where we provide where we talk about real life real estate situations, where we provide real life real estate solutions. And I have with me today the awesome M3 Trinity.
Hey.
And what we're going to talk about today, actually, I don't know if you guys caught me on yesterday, we were actually talking about cracking the bank code. And I went to this awesome summit that they had on yesterday where they talked about great information about how to, what is it, biology?
Yes.
B-U-Y-ology.
Yeah.
Instead of psychology.
Instead of psychology.
Yes. It's the science of predicting people's buying behaviors.
Good stuff, good stuff. And we're going to get into it today. And I want to make sure you guys, for those of you that are joining, go ahead and share this in your news feed, share this with your friends and family and loved ones, because this is going to be some awesome information that we definitely don't want people to miss. So definitely we want to tell you that the views and opinions that are discussed on this show are purely based on personal experience. The information and advice provided are educational in nature and should be taken as such. And I had to make sure I get that disclaimer out of the way. But we're going to go ahead and have everyone introduce themselves, and then we're going to get into the topic of what we're here today.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for having us, Glenn.
Thank you so much for being on the show.
It.
It's greatly appreciate you guys being here.
My name is Maxine Fredericks.
My name is Monique Hayes.
And I'm Melissa Fredericks.
So if you haven't figured it out, the M3. So tell us, how did M3 come together? Well, of course, I know how y'all came together. But so who came up with the idea of M3 Trinity?
I don't know. I think people just called us the 3 M's.
The 3 M's, okay. So someone said yesterday not to be confused with 3 M's.
3 M's, yes.
Yes.
So they named us, and so we rebranded that name for ourselves.
Good stuff. That's kind of how Mr. Dollar Out of a Dime came into place.
Really?
Like, people used to call me that back when I used to help people get businesses started, and I would tell them, listen, just use the skills that you have and start a business with that. They said, wow, you know how to make a dollar out of a dime. I said, okay, I like that. So yeah, yeah, absolutely, we use it for our own benefit. So we're talking about why they buy. And I had the awesome opportunity to meet with Miss, I'm not going to call her Sherry Tree. Hopefully she's checking this out. And she talked about some amazing information. I know you guys shared it with me before,
Right.
but it was probably in passing. And I didn't get a chance the opportunity to really sit and listen to all the information that's involved with it. And I was blown away yesterday. I mean, the information that was shared to really get into the understanding of how people do what they do as it relates to building relationships, understanding how that works. So I want you guys to tell the people a little bit more about how bank works. First, what does bank stand for?
Bank is B. These are 4 personality types. And this system is actually based in personality science. Personality science is not anything that's new. For over 2,000 years ago, Hippocrates utilized the personality system in order to dispense medicine. So it's nothing new. And every personality test that you take, the 4 basic personality types are actually used. So we've heard about the personality types. If you've taken the DISC, the colors, the animals, or any of those personality types, this is a personality science tool that we use in order to predict the buying behaviors of other people. The difference between this and the other ones is that they're all the same, but it's really very, very different. And it's different is because it allows you to be able to understand what a person's personality type is, and you can do that very quickly. As a matter of fact, it can be done within 90 seconds.
Yes, and I did see that. Actually, when I was having a conversation with Sherry yesterday, we were talking, like, I think she just banked me in the first 30 seconds of what we were talking about. It's like, that is good stuff. That is good stuff. So I know some of the folks are going to probably ask the question, how does this relate to real estate? And I'll say from my own personal experience, from what I understand about it, and the knowledge that I picked up from it is, it's great to know how even a seller, like those of us that are buying houses, like we do cold calling and things like that. We do direct mail, and she even mentioned that there is a way to address direct mail to a personality type of a person that's selling a house.
Absolutely.
And that's something that was like, wow, I mean, that was really serious for me. To even know, like in cold calling, we're going to be using this for the people that we're training to cold call for us. So that we know, so they know when they pick up the phone and have a conversation, that this is something that they can use to be able to get directly to having a conversation based on the personality of the person that they're speaking to. But what would you guys say? I mean, I know in my own personal experience how it would work for me. What would you guys say how this would relate to real estate investing?
Everyone looks at me. So in terms of real estate investing, well, in terms of sales, period, point blank, when we think of sales, we think about I'm trying to get someone to do something that they don't necessarily want to do, right? I want you to buy this thing. And the reality of it is sales is simply a way of becoming a better and more effective communicator. It's all about influence. And we sell all the time, right? If you have children, you're selling, right?
Absolutely.
You need them to clean their rooms. If I'm a teacher, which I've been and I am selling ideas and information to my students in a way that's going to enable them to understand it and apply it. So we do selling all the time. Like sales is in us. But in the real estate perspective, if you're building a team, which you always want to have a team of people around you, knowing their personality types will help you to balance that team out. It's really important to have every personality type on your team. So establishing a team and knowing their personality type is key. If you are trying to close a contract or you're trying to negotiate a sale, right, or negotiate price points, it's important that you know what the values of the other person are so that you can hit those values in the negotiation process. This is how you make it a win-win for everybody. You're not negotiating to nickel and dime someone. You're negotiating to make sure that their needs are being met. So if you know what their values are, then you can meet their needs in the negotiation process, and they feel good about it, and you feel good about yourself and what you're doing.
Now, Monique is the person that's on our team that's really big. She's a nurturer. So I talked about, you said, what does BANK stand for? We have the blueprint personality. We have the action personality. We've got the nurturing personality and the knowledge personality. So the blueprint is that person that thinks more or less inside of the box. We need those people because that structure, that's planning, those are people who are always going to make sure that we're timely and things are done on time. And those are the people that we need. And examples of occupations would be policemen, firemen, people who, with an authority and believe in responsibility. And then we've got the action type person, like myself, who thinks outside of the box. And I'm that person who wants to get it done right away. You don't have to give me a lot of details. Of course, I end up making a lot of mistakes when I do that. So I have to be very, very careful.
Right.
Then we've got the nurturer, and I say that because I want to bring it back to Monique, because Monique is a true nurturer. So if she were in the process of negotiating the sale of the close of a house between a husband and wife, she would be perfect at it, simply because she's a nurturer and she understands. If that person is a nurturer, she can understand really what both people want and be able to cater to them. And then we've got the knowledge people. Melissa's a knowledge person and a blueprint person, very high on both of those. And because of her knowledge, she always wants to make sure that everything is in order. So she doesn't make a move without making sure that everything is basically in order. She loves technology. She loves learning. She loves all of those things that I wish I were, but I'm not. But I'm striving. I'm working on it.
I tell her, stop. She doesn't need to be that.
So I want Monique to talk a little bit about relationships, because that's so important in this entire process.
Absolutely.
I like to tell people relationships is my superpower. Building relationships are the foundation of everything, and relationships start with a simple hello. Just by saying hello with a person, Sherry talked about speed coding. The initial response, the initial reaction tells you a lot about the person, and based on that reaction, I develop that type of relationship with that person because I'm the person that, as a team, I fill the room. I make people feel all warm and fuzzy. I care about everybody. I meet people where they are, and I bring it back to her and tell her what it is. And I tell Ma, go, this person wants this. Oh, Ma. We deal with everybody differently. The people that she's very strong with communicating with, like there was a person yesterday at the Sales Summit that wanted more information, and he wanted it then. It's kind of funny because his code is, he's a high knowledge person, but he's a high action person. I knew he was high knowledge, and he's a nurturer because he wanted to make sure everybody's taken care of. But he wanted the answers right then. And the only person in the room besides Sherry that I knew that could give him the answers right then was Melissa. Right. So I found Melissa and said, hey, I need you to give him some information like right now. Oh, and she stopped and gave him the information that he needed. Answered his questions because high knowledge people want the answers right then. Nurturing, like myself, I will take all the time that you need to make sure everything's okay.
And I know that about each and every one of you. I basically, based on the way you guys are describing your personalities, now it's more clear to me how how you guys operate.
And Monique is actually, we're working on our first flip, and so Monique is our relationship person with our contractors. She knows every contractor. I mean, she goes and she eats lunch with them. I mean, she's the relationship guru.
You can go to eat with contractors?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Either I need to have you work with my contractors, or I need to come and eat with yours.
She's not only that, they are so into her that they actually cook their meals on the job site and calls her on the phone and say, hey, Monique, come and eat lunch.
Wow.
It's a good thing.
Let me know when you're done working. Have them come work with.
So did that kind of answer your question about real estate and how we can actually utilize this system in real estate?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It was clear to me how it worked. I just want to make sure, for the sake of the audience, those that are watching. Okay, now somebody says I can hear you loud and clear. What happened to the rest of y'all?
So, relationships, building your organization, marketing, web pages, so
email campaigns, you name
social
it.
media campaigns. All of those things speak to different people. And what tends to happen is, as a communicator, we fall into the trap of communicating in the way that's most comfortable to us, right? You have 3 other personality types that you need to engage and talk to. And if you're only talking to one corner of the market, that means that you're leaving 75% of your sales on the table. So what we did, the exercise yesterday, I thought is really impactful, and I always, I like doing it because it's painful, right? And what that exercise is, so take your 2017 annual income, or your 2017 income, and then I want you to multiply that by 3. So think about what you made this year, and then you multiply that by 3. If you don't know the bank system,
that's for you,
and you are only speaking to one personality type, that annual income multiplied by 3 is the money that you are losing or that you did not make in 2017. So what you're losing is 3 times this year's income if you don't know how to effectively communicate with all 4 personality types. And that's huge. Like how many contracts weren't signed? How many closings did you not make? How many houses were you not able to sell? So we were talking about
relationships
and relationships. Yeah. What I want to ask about is she got a bit in depth about the whole, like I'm trying not to say the psychology, but the biology. She went a little deeper when she was talking about relationships and how people buy, what they look for when they buy. Mm-hmm. Can you guys touch on that a little bit?
You want to start? This is the time when you have 3 people.
Right.
What do you want to talk about?
That's what happens when you're all smart. You know it all.
Let's do it based on each other's code. So the main trigger for Blueprint person when I'm thinking about purchasing something, whether it's a good or a service, I think about quality. Is it going to last? So I'll do some research. I'll look at the reviews. I'll say, is this a good product? Is it a stable product? Can I get a warranty?
Wow.
And then if I can pay in a payment plan, I would rather pay in a payment plan with no interest because I have a budget. And people like myself, when I do buy things, I'm going to purchase it, but you can't pressure me into purchasing things. I'm not a quick sale. I'm not going to buy now. I kind of got to sit down and do my research, and I have to make sure that it fits in my budget. So when you're selling to me, if you have a payment plan, I'm in. If I can see that there's a track record that's been proven that your product works, or I can look at some reviews or testimonials, that I'm in. And then also I'm thinking about, if it's not in budget, I'm not going to buy it from you now, but I'll purchase it from you when I do have the money. Mm-hmm. And then I also think about risk. Is this a risky investment or not? So if it's low risk, then I'm in. If it's a high risk, I'm like, I don't want that.
Not,
okay,
not
so
high risk taking.
yeah, and so with that in mind, Melissa, think about the fact that you are a homeowner, mm-hmm. and you purchased a home, mm-hmm. and you are a blueprint. What were some of the things that made you make the decision to purchase the home that you purchased? And this will help other realtors to know how to sell to a blueprint person.
That's gonna, that's gonna
yeah, so it always has to be a budget. If you're selling a home to a blueprint person, it needs to be, and I tell you what my budget is, I want it to be in that budget. Don't go outside the budget. If you could be underneath the budget, I'm super excited. I'm like, ooh, I won. I kind of need to see the paperwork in terms of, like a home inspection is really important to me. I need to see like how old the home is and what are the modifications that have been done in the home. Usually like proximity to work. Things like that are really important to blueprints because we don't want to spend a lot of money. Remember, we're fiscally conservative individuals who want to make sure that our dollar is being spent wisely.
I want to cut you off, but I'm cracking up over here because you are describing me to a T. I'm the person that, when I go to buy something, like everything you see here is purchased from Amazon.
Yeah.
So when I go to Amazon, I want to see the reviews. I want to see who purchased it, who had issues with it. I want to see how many stars it has, and then I go and research the person that's putting the comments on.
Wow. You went deep.
So I go and look. I go way deep. And I hate to spend money on stuff that I don't use.
Right.
So I always tell the team, I said, look, if we pay for something, I want to be calling tech support. I want it broken, mm-hmm. because if we break it, then we're using it.
Well,
so
and
that's probably why our
warranty.
mics are having issues.
Yeah, we're always going to buy a warranty.
Oh, yeah. We buy the warranty, so we have to find out which warranty goes to that.
So if you're doing, like, new home construction, mm-hmm. Like, this is a really good example. Mm-hmm. Yesterday, we went to purchase a faucet for our kitchen, mm-hmm. and this is how we're making the buying decision. She's like, oh, this one's pretty, and I like this one. I was like, well, how much does it cost? And is it in the budget? And she was like, well, it's this brand. And I was like, well, what
does that mean? She don't care.
Right.
And so then she goes, well, this has a lifetime warranty. And I said, oh.
So now.
Well, now I want to buy it. And can we get the less expensive version of the, the
Absolutely.
warranty? So, and that's how we negotiate purchasing things for the house.
Yeah, and more importantly too, because buying a house usually involves two people.
Mm-hmm.
So then you've got those two personalities. So
yes.
How do you deal with those two personalities? You usually start off talking with one of the personalities, one of the principals in the home, and then the other one comes into play, and you haven't had that conversation with the other one. Mm-hmm. So how do you get those two people, or how do you deliver your message so that both of those people buy into what you are actually trying to deliver?
I want to know, as an action taker,
mm-hmm.
how do you look at your purchases? How do you approach your purchases as an action taker?
They have got to they got to look good. It's all, for me, it's all about how does it look.
Right.
For me, period, it's how does it look.
Mm-hmm.
I'm that person that I will make a decision, I'll make it really fast. You don't have to give me a lot of details because really I'm not going to listen to them.
Okay.
I just want to know the bottom line. and how it's going. Now, I've become a lot more fiscally responsible as a mature person, simply because I've been burned a lot of times.
Right.
But I really just make my decisions really quick. I always think that I'm pretty confident in the decisions that I've made. So that's kind of what that's how an action person behave. You will know an action person by the way they dress. You will know them by, most action people will wear a lot of designer things. You'll know them because they always want to stand out. They always want to be around people who you would consider to be in action as well. So that's how your action person works. Now let me share this story with you, because my husband is totally the opposite. So you said opposite attracts, but after a while opposites begin to attack each other. So I'm more of an action nurture person, and my husband's more of a blueprint and knowledge. And then for years,
sounds like me and my wife.
for years, I would want to do things, and because of his knowledge and because of his blueprint and being very risk adverse, he would hold back. And in my mind, I always thought that he just didn't get it. And it wasn't until I learned the system, and it wasn't until I recognized the fact that he has a different personality style than I do, then I learned how to deliver my message to him a whole lot differently.
Wow.
So now I present him with the facts. And I know he's going to go off and he's going to do his research. And then when he's done his research, he'll come back and say, hey, but you know, all that stuff that was going on for years and years, we could have eliminated had we implemented the bank system in our lives.
Wow. And that's huge to even hear something like that. But you know, there are a lot of relationships that are probably suffering.
Oh, absolutely.
Because they don't, we've heard of the 7 love languages, 5 love languages. See, mine messed up.
You don't know them languages. You don't know them, right?
I made up 2 extra. So either I'm the right person, or y'all just commenting on 5. I got 7. No, but I mean, it's interesting that, based on, a lot of people, they go into situations and relationships and don't even consider the idea of how our psyche might connect or disconnect in some instances. So people go into relationships based on how the person looks, and different things like that, without, really understanding that there's something deeply rooted in how the person connect, or how they connect with the person. So something like this, I believe, could be definitely beneficial for people to understand. Like, we're talking about buying real estate and building a rapport with some people. We know that networking is very important in what we do as in real estate, and that's a major part of how people can connect to people that they can do business with long term.
Suppose you're be able to pick up the telephone and just by having a conversation with someone in less than a minute, you basically know what their code is, and so you know how to speak to that person. Some people want to get on the phone and get off. That's that action person. The nurturing person, they don't mind talking to you because they have all these things that they want to talk about. The blueprint is like, hey, give me the facts. The knowledge person, give me the facts, give me the figures, and I don't need all of that.
I might have to make an adjustment in my code, because I want to get off the phone and get off. That's always the idea for me, but I always find myself sitting on the phone listening, like, do I really want to spend 30 more minutes on this phone call? But I end up doing it anyway.
Right.
So I don't know if I guess that's the nurturing in me. But I would prefer to get off the phone.
But the person on the other end, if they had that knowledge, they would know when it is time to get off that phone.
So should I be able to communicate that to them?
I mean, even still, not to interrupt you guys, the relationship aspect of it is more than just about you. Yeah, you might want to get off the phone because you have an agenda, because you made a phone call or they've called you for something, you've given them an answer. But being able to effectively communicate to that other personality, which if they're keeping you on the phone, it's a nurturer. How to get them off your phone is part of bank. So I'm not gonna hold the phone I'm not. and I'm a nurturer. I hold phones for people that I want to hem-haw with. Because you should hear her. Is that all you want? Well, I just called to talk to you. I'm real brief. And she's like, okay. She will put me on speakerphone, set it down, and keep on working. Mm-hmm. And then are you listening to me? Mm-hmm. And she'll say, mm-hmm. And I'm like, no, you don't. But I said, but I'm going to keep you on the phone anyway because I need somebody to talk to as I'm coming home. Right. So it's just a matter of being able to effectively communicate with the other person on the other line. Not always giving in to them, but how do you communicate that you have to cut this short? And
how do I do that? Help me. Help me.
Your nurture cannot be that suppressed.
It's in there.
Because, yeah, she's done it to me. She's done it to me. Is that all you want? Like, well, are you busy? Are you working? You know, yes, I am. I said, okay. And she could very well be watching television.
I'm usually not.
But,
and, you know, sometimes it's a good way to just say, you know, listen, I know you got this going on, but I have this going on, and
you can schedule another time.
It's just scheduled. Yeah. This is not a good time for me.
Well, less of that, and you're like, I want to give you my full undivided attention. Let's schedule some time to do that. Let's go out and get something to eat, or you know what I'm saying. So you just make it, because here's the deal: you have to make time for people. Mm-hmm. But we didn't answer. How does a nurture buy a house? Yeah.
Okay. Before we do that, I really want to get that question answered, but I do have to. I'm being directed to pause for a commercial break.
Oh, okay.
And our commercial break is just basically we want to make sure you guys are following us on the Real Life Real Estate Investing Facebook page and following us on Instagram, because we are actually going to be going over to the Facebook page, not on just my personal page, but we're going to be going over to the Facebook page. So we want to make sure you guys don't miss the show, because it's actually going to be at Real Life Real Estate Investing on Facebook and Instagram. And we want to make sure we don't let you forget. We want to make sure you remember that we are hosting an event, Master the Money Game, and the lovely M3 is going to be participating with us. And we're going to be talking about a lot more of this information and how you guys get connected. So Master the Money Game is January 20th from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. You can go ahead and check it out on masterthemoneygameworkshop.com. So back to where we were talking about the nurturer buying a house.
My house is never going to be big enough because I like entertaining and I like taking care of everybody. I take in everything but stray dogs and cats.
Okay.
You got to be able to do something. But it's funny that you asked this, because yesterday I was looking at a view of, if anybody knows Will Packer, the director.
Okay.
Will Packer. Mm-hmm. He has a picture of the snow day the other day.
Oh.
And on his Instagram page, you see this picture, and people are like, look at that snow. And I'm like, who sees snow? All I saw is beautiful, huge windows.
Wow.
And I said, now, if I had a house that big with that many windows in one room, I could take care of so many other people. Mm-hmm. You know, and I'm all about nurturing the relationships of the people that's around me. So I'm always going to have the get-together. I will always want to have Thanksgiving dinner, the holidays at my house, and things like that. So my house would definitely be warm, fuzzy, comfy. I'll always have a room more than what I need, or two. You know, every room will probably have, if it's a sofa or futon in it, it converts to a bed.
Right.
I'm always going to have extra air mattresses or something around, because you're in town, no problem. You can stay with me.
Yeah. So much for my nurturing.
Like,
you come over.
Go.
Are y'all staying?
So, I do like that. It's not about budget. It's because I blow the budget quite often. But somehow it all comes together because it's needed, because I'll give more out than I ever have.
Wow.
So I love it, though. I wouldn't change me for me.
That's
good,
though.
They need to be more people like me.
Yeah, I do believe so.
Because I love her.
Don't blow the budget too often, though.
No, I don't blow budgets often. I'm a huge couponer.
But you have somebody that's on your team that will make sure you get that together.
Yes, she reels it in. She prints off pictures. We'll try this faucet. I'll have pictures. I'm like, what is this? And Mom, she wants me to get this faucet.
Just organize. Don't hate.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, we're doing my rehabs. I mean, I do do some research on certain things. And I buy stuff from, like I said, Amazon. This is not an Amazon commercial, but a lot of the things that I buy for the houses, I buy them online.
Yeah.
And I got into the habit of that. I got that idea from Duane Murray. Shout out to Duane Murray, because I would go into Home Depot and I walk past the faucet that I know I need to get 10 times. But I'm like, it got to be one less expensive than that one.
Yes. We're finding the same thing, and it's funny because we go into the Home Depots. I say we because even if it's me, it's we. Our Home Depot, our rehab books, we put everything in a booklet. So Ma started this book because she was in St. Thomas when this rehab started. And I was just like, just follow the book. I'm getting ready to be the best project manager ever.
Wow.
So everything in the book has everything in it. So every time I go into the store, I carry my book in with me. And I had to, at the end of a rehab, you're returning all of the excess. And I had some cement and some level stuff. And the guy's like, you have a receipt for that? Yep. And it looks like the coupon book that you see the couponers in the grocery store have. And I'm like, flip to this. Let me see. Oh, that was when we were doing the doors. It's in the door receipt there. Yeah, and so everything's sectioned off. So that part comes from them. I was just essential in just keeping it organized and maintaining it. And then they didn't understand why I did it the way I did it when I say Home Depot Run 1, Home Depot Run 2, because me and the contractors, they do everything in phases. So I'm like, oh, this is the first phase, this is the second, this is the third. Oh, that's a phase, that's a bid, that's, And it took her coming on the tail end of never looking at my book, saying, what is this? So she had to try to make sense of it. And we just sat down. I went through it with Mom one time, and she was like, oh, I get it. And then we had to go through it with her because me and Mom, we communicate in the same language. But us and her, we don't.
So that's the blueprint knowledge person. You're the action and the nurturers, yeah.
So just communicating that to get the rehab done has been a wonderful experience. Like right now, my job is done. Like all I have to do is get little finishes. And I'm like, where's the next project? And they're like, whoa, whoa, slow your horses. We're not done yet. And I'm like, but I'm done. I'm like ready to move on to the next one. And her work's just beginning.
So, you can really see how important it is because everybody has their own value.
That is excellent,
and
yes.
The cards that we use, the cards that Sherry developed, each set of cards has a set of 12 values on it. And value, yeah, we have some cards here that are not that. And everybody's value is important. And when we learn how to speak the same language that everybody is speaking, a great example of that is you and I speak English. We can have a great conversation together. If somebody else walked into this room and they started to speak Spanish and you didn't speak Spanish and I started speaking Spanish with them, you feel a little out of place.
Right.
If someone came in, you and I were speaking English, and then I suddenly started speaking German with somebody else, the Spanish person would feel out of place, and so on.
He feels some kind of way too. Say, you didn't tell me you speak 2-3 languages.
Could at least tell me what you were talking about.
We talk about you. We're talking about you.
Right.
So it's being able to speak the same language, being able to understand the same language, having that one concept of one, because we're all important. We all have value. Because
Absolutely.
if we did not have value, we would not be here.
Absolutely.
So that's the most important thing, is how can we speak the same language.
The cool thing is that this supersedes ethnicity, nationality, any type of cultural references. It's kind of intrinsically just human nature, right? There's the beautiful thing is that we have values that dominate, but we're all of these things. We're not any of these things singularly, it's just how it shows up. And that's why we talk about bank codes. It's how your personality, communication styles, how they show up, right? So my high 2 are blueprint and knowledge, but that doesn't mean that I'm not a nurturing person, or I don't have an action component of me. It's just they're not as strong. Whereas Monique is more of a nurture, action, Was knowledge blueprint? Yeah, your blueprint all the way to the bottom.
But in order for her to live her life and live it fully, she actually has to start with nurture. She has to care first. And once she's cared, then she can go into action. Once she goes into action, then she wants the knowledge of why certain things are happening. And then she looks for the blueprint that structures it all. And that's for every person.
Thank you for breaking that down for us. Let's tell the people what's on these cards and which one has what on it.
Okay. So this is the blueprint card, and what we essentially do is we say that these are the things that you value. These are the things that you hold dear to you, and your values dictate everything you do. Right? Everything you do is based on what you value, what you find is important. And so the things that blueprint people find important include stability. They like structure. I'm the kind of person who I like to be told what to do. I enjoy that a lot. Within, we like systems because systems is an acronym for saving yourself time, energy, and money.
Yes.
We like planning and processes. It predicts the future, right? If I can plan for it, if there's a process to put in place, then it can be predictable, and then it takes some of the risk away because we don't like risk. We love responsibility, so that is a twofold thing. We take responsibility for all of our actions, and then we also feel like you should take responsibility for your actions. So if you say that you're going to do something, you need to do it for the blueprint person because they are huge on responsibility. If you don't take responsibility for your work, we don't want to do business and we don't want to work with you. And part of being we think a responsible adult is being on time. Wow. So if you're not on time, then you're not responsible, therefore you're not trustworthy, therefore I can't do business with you. So you just think about all these little things that people do all the time that you go like, oh my gosh, like I've now broken a relationship simply because I couldn't make it to work on time. Right. Duty, so we're people who like duty, we like rules. We are rule followers, but we are also rule enforcers, right? So we're straight up snitches. Snitches get stitches. We're the people who will, like, if you're in a movie theater and you're talking, we'll be like, shh.
He's going to be talking anyway.
Yeah. Credentials, we like credentials and we'll seek after credentials. We also listen to people who have credentials. I won't listen to somebody like, who is you? And this is so funny. Like sometimes I'll watch television and there'll be some celebrity on CNN and I'm like, and they're talking about global warming. And I'm like, dude, you're not a scientist. You make movies. I appreciate your movie making prowess, but you can't tell me about global warming. I'm sorry. You're not a scientist. So we do value credentials a lot. We value titles. We accumulate titles, and then we also we like authority. So we'll give respect to people who have titles, and then we like tradition. So we'll do things over and over and over again, just because. Not because it makes sense, but that's because it's the way that we've always done it.
So this is great. So now because everybody gets a chance to talk about, their values. So I like freedom. I like to be free. I want to be free in everything. I'm very flexible. I mean, if you say we're going to Walmart and we get to Walmart and you decide that we're going to go to Aldi, I'm ready to go.
Okay.
I don't mind changing courses, which actually made me very successful because I worked for the federal government for over 20 years. Wow. And I worked in an area where flexibility was really important. I worked in disaster recovery. So it was really, really important to be able to be flexible. So I shined there because I was able to be flexible, turn around and do things that were just out of the box. And I have always thought outside of the box. I always wanted to know or said to myself, well, why does it have to be done that way? As a kid growing up, my mom used to always say that you have to do this and you have to, and I'm thinking, why do I have to do it like this? I always wanted to find a different way.
Yes.
To be able to do things. I always came up with, ideas to do things differently. And then there's spontaneity on a dime, I decided last week that my husband is in Florida, so I didn't tell him. I just decided I'm coming to Florida to be with you on Christmas. And I just sent him a little text and said, buy me a ticket.
That's how she rolled.
That's how you get sponsored in. He does.
Yeah,
Look,
yeah.
yo, buy me a ticket.
And action. The reason I'm working for the federal government, I started working for the federal government because I took action. I was in a hurricane, devastated just the whole island where I was living.
Wow.
And I decided that I had lost all my business, and so I decided that I was going to go and work for FEMA. I didn't even know who FEMA was. So I get up the morning after the hurricane. I go down to the senator's office because they had said that they were going to be coming in. I'm the first person in line. Everybody got in line behind me, and someone asked who's in charge, and someone else said, she is. I went to my car, I got a pad and a pencil, I came back and I started taking people's names,
Wow.
and I was in charge. So when the federal agents came and they walked in the office, I walked in the office right behind them. So I was working in the office for like 2 or 3 days and nobody knew who I was. So they finally hired me. That's the action in me. Opportunity, I love opportunities. I mean, I see an opportunity and I'll go through it and go for it. And sometimes I'll stress myself too thin. So I know I have to reel back on that. I love excitement. I'm always excited about everything. I go in a room and it's like, hey, let's get it going. Let's get this party started. I like attention. I like stimulation because I like to be stimulated. And competition, I am a die-hard competitor.
Okay.
I'm that person that, you know, it's crazy because you would think that at my age I would not be competitive, but I am just as competitive as I was when I was 5 years old.
Wow. Wow.
I love to win.
And you won some competitions, by the way.
Yeah, because I decided that I was going to win.
That's right. That's good.
I love to win. I like to have fun. And image is what I really like. So those are the values that action people actually have. So Monique?
I'm a nurturer, high nurturer. I value relationships and authenticity. There's nothing more important to me than a person with great integrity. You can be, you know, right and you can be wrong as long as you stand in your rightness or your wrongness, and I have much respect for that. But once you breach my trust, I don't trust you anymore. And she can trust you, and she can trust you, but I'm like, yeah, no, I see what I saw. So authenticity is very, very big for me. Personal growth, I love learning. Contrary to her type of learning, I like learning, but I like learning more on a personal level. I don't need all the letters and XYZs behind my name. I strive for greatness, but just not to that degree. I'd rather take the out of classroom type training, on the job training.
Learn while you earn.
Learn while you earn. Yes. I do believe in teamwork and significance, and having significance in whether it be in your household, in the community, in a relationship. Teamwork makes the dream work. That we say it all the time. I can't do everything by myself, and the greatest people in the world are not the smartest people in the world. They're smart because they know enough to put people in proper positions around them to propel them to the top. And there's nothing more important to me than a team and team involvement and being involved in the community. I really like getting involved. If it's a community event, I'm probably saying, let's go. I get us involved in all of these fitness things.
She's
and
a volunteer. A professional volunteer. And then voluntold me to do stuff.
Yeah. I get us involved in volunteering and community exercise events all the time, and I end up being the world's greatest camera girl. So I'm videoing Mom. I'm like, get it, sis. I have to take my professional breaks.
So your videos, you're getting everybody involved, and you just stand behind the camera.
And I get out there, and I start out exercising, but their cardio is way better than mine. I'm like, well, I need a 30-second break.
On the floor, talking about who does this.
Yes, that's my motto, who does this. But I do it, and I keep us involved in it. And look at us. Don't we look great?
Yes, indeed. So
being involved in the community, compassion, morality, all of that stuff, your ethics, is very important to a nurtured person. A nurturer is compassionate. Once you pull on them strings and you try to cut them, and once we bleed slow and we bleed long. So we don't forget. where our hurt comes from. We are forgive, but we just don't forget. So I like nurturing my relationships. So yes, I do have lunch with my contractors, and I love it, and they cook really good for me. So, yeah, and I can't make what they cook too, and everybody knows I like it. So I call me across town. I'll be there at 1. I'm coming. So those relationships do mean a lot to me. So nurturers are big with
Good
relationships.
people.
Yeah.
Some great people.
Good
Yeah.
stuff.
So, Glenn, you said you're a knowledge
All right,
person. We're
well,
gonna-
I am a knowledge person. I love to learn. I'm an avid reader. Like I get up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. Go through my system, and part of that is I have to. Like the last couple of days, I haven't been reading. I was like, what's going on? I'm missing something. It's like I'm starving or something. So I had to get back into reading this morning. As a matter of fact, this is another book that I'm reading now.
Right.
Started reading this morning. Just got this yesterday. So I love to learn. Intelligence is a very important thing to me. I remember in my stint in college, did a bid in college. The professor asked me, what is one of the most important things you want people to see when they see you? I want them to see that I'm intelligent. And at the time, I wasn't that intelligent, but that's what I wanted people to see. Well, I was intelligent. I just wasn't very mature. But I wanted to, that was one of the major things I wanted people to see. Logic, self-mastery, technology, you see, we kind of a little bit of technologically inclined.
All of it.
A lot of technology.
I'm still trying to figure out how to use a MacBook, though. I bought one and don't know how to use it. So the producer, he does all the stuff on the Mac. So
It's backwards.
I'm going to break it.
You can actually set it up like a PC. Like you can set up the
He said
controls.
shh.
and
He said shh.
Oh, I'm
He's
sorry.
like,
He's
shh.
gonna-
He don't want me to know
Yeah, like
that.
that's his toy.
Research and development, I'm always looking, like I said, I'm looking for the stuff behind the stuff. Science, I like some science. Universal truths, I'm kind of big into that. Expertise, competence, accuracy. Accuracy is a major thing for me. Now, I'm not going to say I'm always accurate, but I love accuracy. Like you're talking about being on time, I can't stand to be late, but I'm time challenged. And I am a big picture thinker. I always look at things, I'm a visionary. I look at the way we can, the level that we can do things on. And we were understanding about as a visionary and an integrator. Derek is an integrator, so he has to pull me down from that rainbow I'm hanging on sometimes. I'm like, dude, no, we can do this. We can fly. He's like, yeah, but are those wings that you're supposed to grow on your way down? You got to flap for them. So, I mean, and this actually describes me almost to a T, with how I approach the way I do things, like, real estate investing. Now, when I first started learning to invest in real estate, I got the Carlton Sheets course, and I read it for a whole year. I read it like 3 times for a whole year. I went back and forth and back and forth. And when I sat down to speak with an attorney, they talk about building your team.
Right.
I sat down to speak with an attorney about investing in real estate. And he said, I can tell you've really been doing your homework. And I'm like, wow. Now, I was like 25 years old, 23 or 24 years old. I hardly know much of anything about anything. But when I studied that course, I really was able to have a conversation, so that is why I know, like, even the knowledge and intelligence and learning, and that's something that's major for me. Even learning how to be a talk show host. I did my research, like, how am I supposed to ask these questions? And so yeah, I mean, knowledge is a major part of who I am, my makeup. And I don't know what our time is like, but oh, we got a question.
Yeah, question.
Okay.
Hey, love questions.
That's something else. We're supposed to make sure we have people ask questions. We have so much into this. We didn't get a chance to have people ask
They
questions.
can ask on the,
Oprah moment.
we'll follow up in that.
Okay. This is a good question. So we're at the point now. We're actually past the point, but I want to make sure I encourage you all that have questions. Please go ahead and chime in and ask your questions. I mean, I'm sure based on the knowledge, based on the topic that we have here today, I mean, you guys definitely should be asking tons of questions. One of the questions we have from Mr. Maverick Robinson. Shout out to Mr. Maverick Robinson. He says, how much is bank code training investment for the different levels, and is there financing available?
Okay.
You think
So
so?
you-
Good question.
Yes and yes. So we have.
There's levels to it.
There are levels to it. Learning how to be a professional banker, right, it's a 3-tiered process. So we have a training that focuses on just the fundamentals of learning the different personality types, how to sell to each personality type, what sales things that you should stay away from in the sales process, and things that you should definitely talk about in the sales process, and how you connect with those people. And that's called our Bank Fundamentals course. We have a live and we have a virtual training for that. And then the second level is called speed coding. So we utilize the cards to have people tell us who they are and what they value. But in speed coding, what we do is we use the skill of observation and asking questions and just kind of using your common sense, to figure out what someone's code is. So that's an art form, and that's also virtual training and a live training. And then our last, which is like the creme de la creme, if you want to be like a professional banker, the last level is called power scripting. And power scripting is how to speak to anyone about anything at any time. And it's the perfect script, so you'll never not know what to say. So it doesn't matter if I'm selling you, a tablet. Regardless of who I'm selling it to, I know the right thing to say that'll make you buy this tablet. We do an activity called Sell Me This Pen from Wolf of Wall Street.
All right, yeah.
That's what we do at the very end of the class is you get a product that you have to sell to a personality type. And
she changes that product
every
each person that comes up.
So we give you the formula to do scripts for any product or service, and you actually build your product and service scripts while you're in class. And that again is a virtual and a live training. So for virtual training, we do financing. And our lowest price point package for our virtual training is $497 a year. And then we have a $29.95 fee for our what's called the bank pass. So if you like the cards and you think those are cool and sexy, we have a digital version of that, and you can send it out to as many people as possible. And it tells the person who's completing the bank code about themselves, and it also will tell you what their bank code is, and they've given you their phone number and their email address, and there's a little report in the back that essentially tells you how to have a conversation with that person in the way that is going to work best for their code. And that actually comes up to, if we do financing, it's $47 a month. Our second level, which is a speed coding level, and it also includes the fundamentals, is $997 a year, and then that's $29.95. And for financing, it's $97 a month, which is a phenomenal price point. And then our last course, which is power scripting, is $1,997 annually, or we do financing, so it's $199 a month. And then it also includes that $29.95 for your bank pass. So we do live training, which is separate and different, and we're actually going to be hosting 4 live trainings in 2018. We're going to do 2 fundamentals, 1 speed coding class, and 1 power scripting class. And we would love to connect with you, and we'll have some information for you about those live events. But the live training we don't do financing on, but here's the deal. If you want to learn this system and master it, my suggestion is get the virtual training, and then we also, depending on what level of virtual training you get, we will gift you 2 free tickets to our live training. So that's how we do it.
Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. So let's do this. We're at the point in time, like this is phenomenal. I had such a great time sharing this with you guys today. So let's tell the folks, how can they get in contact with you, and how can they reach out to you to get their bank code?
Oh, okay. So the best way to get your bank code is type in on your computer or on your smartphone, mybankcode.com/M as in Mary, and then 3 as like 1, 2, 3. So mybankcode.com bank.com/M3. And if you actually go to that website, you can crack your own code, put in your information, and we'll follow up. We'll give you a call, and you can tell us what it is that you're looking for in bank. If you just want to get more information on bank itself, you can go to bankcode.com and read more information about what bank is, how it works, some of our celebrity endorsements, some of the businesses that we already work with. And if you decide that you want to purchase a product, you want to put in M3 as your promo code or your access code. It's always going to be M3.
Before we forget, bank code is more than just the personal level. We have enterprise versions of it for those of you that have businesses and see the bigger picture and want to implement it on your sales team or your business for whatever reason. That information can't be, it's how do you do it? It's on an individual level based on the size of the company and things like that.
Yeah, enterprise, the pricing for enterprise is actually on bankcode.com.
Right.
And then separately, we do business consulting for bank. So utilizing the bank system, I guess is a better way of saying it. So if you have a business and you want us to come in and bank your marketing, your website, your email campaigns, your social media, we do that. If you have an elevator speech that you give out at networking events, we will bank your elevator speeches. We'll bank your PowerPoint presentations. If you are recruiting new people into your company and you want them to have a specific personality type, we'll actually, we will bank your job descriptions. So if you are having issues, thank you. Michael Braswell is one of our clients, so this is the story that he told me yesterday that I didn't know about. So Michael Braswell said, I've started my new business and I need help, right? And so I said, well, let's get your everything, banked. So we sat down with Michael, and what we did for Michael was we said, okay, you have a list of all these people who are in your database and you haven't yet communicated with them. Let's figure out a way to make sure that every person that you send an email to is touched, right? Not only are they touched, but it's relatable for their personality type. So we created 5 email campaigns. One generic one that hits all 4 personality types, and then he has a campaign for blueprints, actions, nurtures, and knowledge. Monday was the first time he actually ran his campaign. It was the first email. It ran at 9 o'clock in the morning. He said at 10 o'clock he had already received 8 phone calls saying that people wanted to do business with him. Now his issue is he's got more business than he has people to work it, which is a great problem to have.
Absolutely.
And it's the best part is it's not me, it's the system. So, oh, that's not me. I was like, there's notes, and I need to read them. That's my blueprint. So yeah, it's a great testimonial, and we love working with businesses. We want to help people succeed. We have a podcast that's called What You Want, and we're all about trying to help people. If you had all the education and the time and the resources and mentorship that you could possibly want, what would you do with your life?
Right.
So we're always trying to help people out.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So how do they get you? How do they connect with you guys on social media?
Great. So we have an M3 Trinity account on Facebook. So M3 Trinity, like Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost.
It is. Exactly, that's what it is.
Okay.
We also have another business called ECC 412, which is Ecclesiastes 412.
Really?
Look it up.
Good.
You know, we strong in the Lord.
And the power of His might.
Yes, knowing your heart. Every battle He will fight.
Maxinator.
You can follow Maxinator. You can follow. You got a couple of different. She's like, which one?
On Instagram, Mahogany Muscles, MOHAGHANY Muscles, Mahogany Muscles, MOHAGHANY Muscles.
Instagram, we're M3 Trinity. Tweeter, I can't remember.
Twitter.
I know, I just like saying Tweeter. I know it was wrong. It was me having a good. I like jokes. Clearly, it was only funny for me. But yes.
Or just give us a call.
Yeah.
770-648-3636. That's 770-648-3636. 3636.
Or you can email us at m3@m3trinity.com.
That's M, the number 3. That's M, the number 3 at m3trinity.com.
So you know what's really amazing about Bank is that we always talk about giving back and having service and being servant leaders. Bank really is not about me or you. Bank is about the person that's in front of them, about me. That's the most important person. As I sit here and I look over and I look at Derek, and I'm having a conversation with Derek, it's really all about Derek. You know, I put everything else out of my mind, and I just focus on Derek. I'm not thinking about what I want to say to him. I'm not thinking about anything, or the questions I want to ask, or what I want to share. My whole focus really is on Derek and finding out what's important to Derek. And once we find out what's important to everybody else in life, all of our blessings just fall into place.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know? Yeah. And so, you know, like one of my favorite scriptures is Malachi 3:10. Okay. So if you just give of everything that you have, because when we give, we feed everybody. Everybody gives.
Absolutely.
There's no reason for anybody to be hungry if we all give.
This is true. This is true.
So then
Maybe that's what John was thinking about when he started Everybody Eats.
Everybody eats. Everybody eats.
The grind guy.
and it's true. It's true.
And that's what we were talking about earlier, you know, being able to help everybody, you know. And there's something that we can do to help every person that wants to be helped.
Yes.
You know, one thing I was talking, me and Derek were talking about earlier is the one thing that Sherry said on yesterday is that there's only 2 types of people that we can't help.
Right.
Yes.
And they are
the ignorant people and the ones that know everything.
And the arrogant. Ignorant
and the arrogant,
yeah.
yeah, the ignorant and arrogant. And I kind of did a quick, I guess, my mindset makeover moment that I do on Mondays. When I was talking about people and when they think everything is a scam. And they look at what they think they know about it and not actually experiencing it for themselves. You know, and they'll approach it with the mindset of it won't work for me, and they haven't even tried it.
right.
You know, and those are the types of people that I think oftentimes they miss so many opportunities. I think I did one of my other shows was the acronym was POOR, P-O-O-R, where they pass over opportunities regularly.
Over and over again.
Oh yeah,
Repeatedly,
and repeatedly, and that's I think when people look at things a certain way without experiencing them for themselves, they miss even the possibility of it possibly being something that could change their lives for some, you know, for the better. You know, so I say to those people, change your mindset.
And you know, everything you do in life, you got to work at it.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
you know, don't just think you're going to step in and then tomorrow it's going to happen. You just, you know, we have to work at ourselves.
Absolutely.
And it starts all the way from the inside. So we always, constantly, every day, it's a work in progress.
Yes.
If we want to live the lifestyle that is going to be comfortable for us, you just got to work at it. Some days it's going to be good. Some days it's going to be hard. But so what?
I'm gonna ask. We had 2 more questions, and I want to make sure. Shout out to my auntie. She said, "Hey, nephew."
Hey, auntie.
How you doing?
Hey,
Auntie.
Stacy. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching the show. One of the things Maverick asked, he says, "How much is the live training?"
Live training, so the fundamentals course is $14.95. So that's $1,495.
Not $14.
Yeah. And that's to take it for 2 people. We always encourage people to bring another person.
Exactly.
So it's fundamentals, and then we also have a fundamentals relationship class, which is how do we apply all of the things that we learn in bank to your marriage relationships, to your coworkers, to your children. How do you get along with people? For the speed coding class, that one is also $14.95. So, and that's for 2 people. And then there is the, don't tell me, there is the power scripting class, and the power scripting class is $24.95, and that's a 3-day class. So it's a difference of 2 days versus 3 days. Or you can bundle it, and we do offer a bundle package, and that is again for $5,000, but it's for you and it's another person. So that's the live training. So
That's
that's the discounted price point. Now, what I will say is that if you purchase a platinum training package, we gift you your 2 fundamentals course classes. It comes along with that. So you get.
Okay. And the platinum is?
Platinum is you get the fundamentals, you get the relationship information, you get speed coding, and then you also get power scripting. And then there's a ton of additional add-on things. You get audio classes. You get, we have a Center of Influence Networking course. There's another sales course that's within the virtual training. You get a plethora of information. So definitely go on bankcode.com and you can scroll all the way down. Yes, you do get a set of cards. Scroll down to the different plans and it'll actually explain to you what's available and what you're getting. It's an incredible value at a fraction of the cost. And so someone asked the other day, I was like, well, if this is so valuable, why does it cost only $497? And that's the amazing thing about the CEO and founder and also the author of Why They Buy, Sherry Tree. This isn't made for rich people to get rich. This is made for the everyday average person who wants to change their life. She made it affordable and attainable for everyone. So don't look the gift horse in the mouth. This is about changing everyone's lives. And in order to do that, it has to be fiscally accessible to everyone. So $47 a month, if you can't afford $47 a month, you need the training.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that's our time for today, ladies. Thank you so much again. I certainly appreciate you guys taking the time.
Thank you all for everybody that called, you know.
Thank you all for watching.
Hey,
I think this has been long overdue. So I couldn't think of a better way to, you know, wrap up the rest of the year. I think we got one more show for the rest of the year.
This is your Christmas gift.
You're right.
And this is my birthday present.
Oh, that's right. That's
It's her birthday
right.
Friday. Tell the people how young you will be.
I will just be only 71.
Only
Yes.
71. And don't you all wish you look as good as her at 71 years?
They all do. Everybody. We're all beautiful. We're all beautiful.
We just can't do.
So guys, I want to make sure I let you all know to don't forget, next week we're going to be on the Real Life Real Estate Investing Facebook page. So make sure you guys go and follow us on the Real Life Real Estate Investing Facebook page. You can actually go on the group and on the Facebook page. But you might not catch the show with me if you're following only my personal page, because my personal page is going over to do some other stuff. So we want to make sure you guys, get to the specifics of what we're showing you on the Real Life Real Estate Investing Facebook page. And don't forget to follow us on at Real Life Real Estate Investing on Instagram. And you can also follow me at Mr. Dollar Out of a Dime on Instagram as well. So we might be doing both of them on the Instagram. So definitely check us out. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget you can still share and you can take it to the bank. And we'll see y'all next week. Thanks again.